Welcome to the Great Awakening Show. I am Joanne-Divine Life Yogini, and on the show this week we have Teal Swan, who is a spiritual teacher, an international speaker, and a best-selling author. Teal tells us all about her amazing book, The Anatomy of Loneliness, and its 3 pillars or qualities of loneliness that are separation, shame, and fear. My Yogini talk is all about the stages of awakening. Humanity is going through a great awakening, an unprecedented time of spiritual enlightenment and a great shift in consciousness into the age of Aquarius. Mother Earth is raising her vibration, ascending from the 3rd dimension into the 4th and 5th dimensions of peace, love, light and bliss. And as Gaia ascends, so too are we individually, raising our vibration to ascend into the higher dimensions with her. It is the great transformation from egoic duality into the loving dimension of oneness and unity through every natural woman and every natural man on this earth. For our human journey is about breaking the binds of our egoic self-limiting thoughts, feelings and beliefs to achieve union with the goddess essence in every woman's heart and the God essence in every man's heart that has been resisted and forgotten for eons. All planetary systems are beneficially ascending, which has caused intense frequencies and higher light energy waves to flood the earth. These positive love light energies are purging the negative dark shadow energies within us and in the collective, forcing them to the surface to be cleared and exposing and revealing the truth of everything. For it is only darkness that conceals. Thus the whole world is going through a dark night of the soul, individually and collectively, which is a difficult and confusing process. The dark night of the soul may take several years and is a term used to describe the collapse of everything that once was meaningful in our life, where nothing makes sense anymore, where we question everything, and where life seems to have no purpose. Yet this breakdown leads to the cultivation of a deep resistance, blocking us so we carry our wounds and our past conditioning and old programming with us through life, which impedes our growth and evolution. However, our wounds are actually our blessing, our medicine. Our awakening and our breakdown is our breakthrough into our most self-realized self. This shows us our truth and the reason why negative things happen and how maybe we were on the wrong toxic path, which allows us to end a cycle and to begin again. The meaning of life is to awaken to the truth of our world and to the truth of ourselves. Otherwise, we shall keep on reincarnating upon the continuous wheel of birth, death, rebirth until we become awakened and thus move on to higher, more glorious, more celestial realms of existence. Many people are just awakening in this world and beginning their journey, and they need our help and guidance on their paths to become enlightened and awakened too. There are stages of awakening that we may go through, and it's beneficial to know what to expect. Stage 1, confusion. You will begin to feel an uneasiness about what is happening in your world and what is happening in your life. You do not know what to do or where you need to go or what to believe anymore, and things may seem confusing, stagnant and not moving forward. You feel worried and unclear about what your direction your life is going and what to do next. Stage 2, restlessness. You feel frustrated and stressed about everything and wonder why things are going wrong or why nothing is working out for you in the outside 3D world. You begin to have a strong, restless desire to make changes, yet you are not sure how to implement them. Stage 3, realization. You have a motivated realization which helps you to make these changes in life, either through your diet, exercise, or physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual health. And you let go of relationships, friends that no longer serve you, or you move house, towns, or jobs that you have outgrown. You begin to experience things on a different, deeper level and start to see them in a higher way than before. Yet you still feel confused, worried, and frustrated at times. Stage 5, light and dark. You begin to educate yourself with spiritual, thought-provoking books and inspirational videos on the internet, and you turn off mainstream media and its false propaganda that is always negative. You feel as though one moment you are happy and the light, and the next you are negative and dark. This is the spiritual and material pull of the divinity and ego battle within you, as your ego wants to hold on to your old way of life, yet your soul longs for freedom, truth, joy, and to embrace the new. This leaves you anxious and tired, but you do not give up. Stage 4, fear. You may have a sense of great fear as you go over and over all the mistakes you made and all the times you were hurt in your past, and you dwell on the bad things that happened to you. You crave wisdom and truth, and you may wonder why you ever started this awakening journey, and if you should continue on this path. However, you are awakening your dormant spirit. Your courage is great, and there is no going back. For you dare to leap into the unknown with blind faith, while your life in the 3D with your old egoic ways falls away. Stage 6, dark night of the soul. Things may continue to collapse around you. You feel alone, isolated, and are in darkness. And you may have physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual ascension symptoms. You feel like your whole world is completely falling apart, which it is, because this makes space for your new beautiful life and the new glorious you to emerge, as the butterfly emerges from the dark cocoon into the light, and as the phoenix rises from the hot ashes into the cool air. Even though you are scared about what is to come and how things could ever get better, you know that every time you fall, you shall rise again with deeper insights. Stage 7, change and transformation. You start to meditate and contemplate regularly, and you touch the healing, awakening, divine, love light energy within you, which fills with such bliss and wisdom and knowledge. Through this, you see your hurts, wounds are really blessings, your medicine, your awakening, and that your breakdown is your breakthrough into your most self-realized self. For they show you your path and your truth and the reason why negative things happen, and that you can end this cycle and begin again. You see that only through your transformation can you help and transform the world, and that as you change yourself, you lead by example for others to change and transform too. Stage 8, connectiveness and oneness. The more you meditate and contemplate, the more you sense your egoic, fearful thoughts and feelings do not arise so much within you, and that you are much more accepting of the highs and lows of life. So you stay more balanced in the middle path, and you have heart alignment. You begin to feel harmony and positivity within, and sense you are healing and calling back all those parts of your soul that you gave away, which gives you a sensation of wholeness that you never had before. You begin to sense a deeper connection with the universe and a profound oneness with divinity and with God, Goddess within. Stage 9, great gratitude. You read everything you can on metaphysical and spiritual wisdom and ancient knowledge, and you write, journal, plan out practices and ways in which you can serve humanity. You begin to be so very grateful for your divine life, so thankful to God, Goddess, for everything you have, and for where you are on your spiritual journey. You forgive everyone that ever mistreated you, but more importantly, you forgive yourself, which sets you free. You follow your inner guidance, your intuition, and you feel heart, mind, soul, true alignment, and you seek to find your higher soul purpose in this life. Stage 10, synchronicity. You embrace your power of manifestation as a divine creator of your individual life and as a creator of the world timeline. And you see the synchronicities your angels, guides, and the universe are giving you to light up your path. Your spiritual practices are intense, and you raise your Kundalini energy up your spine to the holy grail inside your head. Your conscious mind is expanding. Deep wisdom is being bestowed upon you during meditation, and you see the meaning of symbols and numbers and why things have happened in your life. Amazing things and opportunities are coming to you now. Stage 11, knowing your true self. You gain clarity, insight, and awareness about your soul purpose, as your answers have been bestowed upon you from divine intelligence that lies within you, not outside. You learn to bless your past self and all the bad things that you experienced, as you now know they were the greatest times when you grew and evolved the most. You are aware that this life is temporary and that you are here to experience all things that were not love within you, so you could know what true self-love is. Only now may you give out unconditional love, healing and awakening to others, and to help them manifest their divine lives. For now you understand how your energy affects the world and how to use your alchemical magic within. For now you live more in divine presence, knowing you are human and divine, which is your true self. Stage 12, higher consciousness. Your mind has completely changed. Your body chemistry has completely changed, and you as a soul have completely changed. You crave your time alone, and now you are in a heart, mind, soul alignment. Wonderful things begin unfolding in your life. You meet your soul tribe, and you are no longer fearful of the spiritual awakening path, as you are open to receive all wisdom, all love, and all your dreams are manifesting in your physical reality. You are a co-creator with the divine, and you feel loved, protected, and blessed. You see the awakening process as beautiful, and having gone through your dark night of the soul, you feel secure, graceful, serene, and peaceful for the first time. For you have surrendered the egoic control of your life and allowed love, allowed God, Goddess to guide you, and thus you have made peace with your past, peace with your presence, and you are bringing peace to the world. You commune with divinity and raise your vibration daily, and you listen to the guidance all around you from the natural world. For you realize the more you know, the more there is to know on this awakening path. Awakening is the act of waking up from sleep, a recognition, a knowing, and a coming into awareness of something deeply profound that resonates within your heart and soul that you have been longing for many years. Walking this path is a rite of passage into being a strong, kind, spiritual woman and man, and an initiation into finding the truth of source energy, the truth of love within, which is the most important undertaking you can make in life, as everything else is temporary and transient. Only the spirit soul is eternal. You then learn to bless every moment of your challenging, enlightening journey, for it is where you find divine love, which perpetrates physical love to assist you in your sacred quest into wholeness. At this time, humanity's vibration is soaring ever higher, our light is shining ever brighter, and our awakening is so great that it is dissolving any agenda that does not propagate love. This is the return to pure truth, pure peace, pure action, and pure love. And it's a return, a coming home to heaven, to Eden, to our new earth, which must be experienced within ourselves first. Then we spread it throughout the world into our next generations. For we are made in the image of God, Goddess. Therefore, we are the divine creators of our own lives and of the collective world timeline. Thus, we have a responsibility to awaken our divine feminine and our divine masculine within and step into enhanced energy alignment, freedom and healing. This vibration is where we use our sacred heart and our magic mind to visualize and feel the best outcome for us and for our world, and to hold the most glorious vision of the paradise timeline and thus create our new earth.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
And I'm in Watkins Bookshop, and I am with Teal Swan, who is a transformational revolutionary. And she has written the book Anatomy of Loneliness, How to Find Your Way Back to Connection, which is absolutely wonderful. Teal, welcome to UK Health Radio.
Thanks, it's wonderful to be here in London.
And so tell us, Teal, how did you, this book is so beautiful, it really is, I've read it, and it's just so wonderful, and it can help so many people. Tell us a little bit about the 3 pillars and how you came to write your wonderful book.
Well, I wanted to write this book based on the fact that I had suffered from loneliness to such an extreme degree myself, but what loneliness does is it convinces you that you're the only one that feels it. So I was one of these people who was, to be quite honest, I tried to commit suicide multiple times. So I was so lonely. I was looking at a world where it seemed like everybody else had family that they related to, everybody else had connections, and I didn't. And yeah. I didn't really know what to do with that. It ended up committing to life, and as a result of that, ended up living in intentional community, which was the best decision I ever made. But I still kind of was operating from this paradigm of I must have been the only person that had that level of isolation.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I started traveling around the world for the career that I'm actually doing today that I was absolutely dumbstruck, because it was like it didn't matter what country I was in or what culture I was engaging with, what age demographic, man, woman, didn't matter. Everybody was telling me the same thing, which was they felt a sense of isolation.
Yeah, it's a separation.
So I was like, oh, okay, this is obviously a much bigger issue than just with me. And it wasn't until later that I started to really understand, what makes up loneliness and how it's not just an individual issue, it's like a societal issue.
Yeah, it is.
And I saw it really as being what creates all crime, what actually creates all war, and most people were like, well, what do you mean loneliness creates war?
It does. Yeah, it's the separation. It's not in the union. We're not together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I started to see that, at the foundation, this concept of separation, which is the first pillar of loneliness, is really what's fueling all the issues you're looking at today, whether it's addiction or war or a terrorist attack or
that's right,
health ailments even, because the body is in a state of fragmentation as well. So it became suddenly, which is when I got really interested in it. yeah. It became this real societal shift that needed to occur.
It's so true. It's so true, because as a yoga teacher, I really, yoga means union. That's what yoga means, in Sanskrit, and we are in this time of unity consciousness, coming together, and our problems, it all stems from that. Ego separation, love, unity brings us together, doesn't it?
Yes. Much easier said than done.
Oh yeah, of course we can say it. It's like, yeah, but it's so sad that so many people feel this disconnection, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it breaks my heart.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's the first disconnection is when we're born, isn't it? Disconnection from spirit, from, what you want to call it, whatever. But then coming down here in this place, and it's so cold and hard, and lonely. So what about the three pillars?
The 3 pillars, the first is separation. Now, the story of separation starts way before even human existence. And I mean before the existence of even the planet Earth.
Yeah.
It exists within source mind, which is if you look at everything in existence as if it's part of one collective consciousness, that collective consciousness we could call source, or many people call God. We are essentially a projection of it. So everything you're seeing in this physical reality, whether it's a table or us, we are basically a fragment within that united consciousness. When that consciousness had the thought of I, basically the question, what am I? You can't think the thought I without automatically giving birth to the concept of other.
That's right.
So it's almost like this united consciousness created its first fracture within itself, where it now perceived that there was nothing to be in relationship to. So it's
That's
actually
how it knows itself.
Yeah,
Otherwise it cannot know itself.
Exactly.
It's part of the whole.
but that's when the pain began.
Yeah.
Because if I am all there is, then there's nothing actually to be in relationship to. But what's very profound about this is that if the crack within the consciousness is the first thing that created loneliness, this has vast implication for ourselves as mirrors of the greater universe. It means that our loneliness is actually caused by the internal fragmentation within us.
And we are constantly ever trying to merge back into the oneness.
Always.
Because oneness is where is our home. You know, isn't it? As we pass over into the oneness, we're constantly wanting that merging of it. It's what union is between two souls, isn't it? And
I should say what it seems like is that human beings are at once craving it and desperate for it and fighting it at the same time. It's almost like the worst tug-of-war game I've ever seen. Because, you know, when we fall in love, it's the best experience you can possibly have. It's as close as most of us get to forced union again.
yeah.
When the chemicals take over and you're no longer intervening in the process. But
Yeah.
at the same time, we become fragmented in this process of socialization. That's the primary thing that's causing this internal fragmentation within a person. So when we experience our early life and we learn that certain things are acceptable about us and certain things are not acceptable.
Conditioning.
During that conditioning process, we learn that it is dangerous and not acceptable to have parts of ourselves actually belong with us or be part of ourselves. So during that process, we begin to push these aspects away, and then what you'll watch with an average person is that they have the part of them that really wants that integration and the part that's learned that there are massive consequences to that, and so push it away.
So it's our whole life is really a journey of collecting them parts of us back again to become whole.
Exactly.
And we don't have to die to do that, to wait. We can do it. You know, that's to me that's self-realization. To me, that's enlightenment now, in this body, in this life, isn't it?
Yes.
Which is just what we're all striving for. But it's not really profound. It's not really out there, is it? It's quite
No, yeah, that's the thing. It's quite simple and practical, but we don't want it to be practical and simple. Because honestly, this is what drives me nuts about the spiritual field in general.
It always has to be so difficult and so highbrow and so, oh my God, you know, it's not.
Well, we're avoiding the places where it actually is.
Yeah, within us. It's all inside, isn't it? It's all...
Yes, but that's rather abstract. See, this is sort of like, I want to simplify this concept because when you sit in front of an audience and somebody like me says something like, you know, everything you want is within or everything you need is within.
Yeah, it's a cop-out really, isn't it?
Yeah, and it makes no sense. I mean, it's like abstract spirituality.
How do we get that? How do we get that within and
How do we get the integration from within?
Yeah.
Very easily, you go in the direction of your triggers instead of away from them. So anytime you feel a negative emotion, actually, we need to be doing the opposite of positive escapism, which is the majority of the self-help field, honestly. And we have to literally go straight towards it. It's almost like, not almost like, it is like every single time we feel an emotional trigger, that's like a layer that's sitting on top of a personal truth. And it's an indication that there's an aspect of ourselves that we've cut off from. So the real work of integration is not comfortable. That's why most people don't like it so much.
That's right, they run away from it.
Until they're desperate, and it's like, well, my life's not working at all.
It's like delving. You've got to delve into the darkness. You've got to delve into the shadow side, you know, to release it.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I think is happening a lot in this world. There's so much love energy coming in that it's like causing this mass purge.
Oh, yeah.
Like bringing it up to the surface out of everything. That's why it's chaos, isn't it?
Which is where we're headed even more today.
Yeah.
We're in this phase where all the shadows that used to be under the floorboards of collective consciousness are now being canvassed. And that's a good thing if we can deal with them.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh my gosh. So we've got the two pillars. We've got the separation.
This first pillar, separation.
And then we've got
the way to think about this is like the first pillar of separation, which is something that began way before human life, but is perpetuated by the way that we're thinking. The concept of the ego fits into this pillar of separation, which every spiritual teacher has taught. Yeah. But what we have to understand about the ego is that we cannot make an enemy anymore of it.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to integrate, we actually have to accept that that's a real part of ourselves, and that's what we're not wanting to do.
We have to embrace it.
Yeah, in the spiritual field, we love to say, well, our true self versus our false self.
True.
I don't look at it that way, because even doing that is to push it away.
We need the ego. We need the ego to live in this world. Otherwise, we couldn't.
Exactly.
And we can reduce it.
More than that, there is such a thing as the aware ego, which is where Source is wanting to go. It's wanting to go towards the actual embodiment of itself.
Yes.
So, if you're going to become a true expression, you need an aware ego, and that is fully possible. The aware ego actually looks like a state of oneness. Oneness is actually the ultimate ego, by the way. Most people don't think of it that way.
I love that. That's great.
But if you, think about it this way. Ego is a sense of self, which is one, right? So if I consider all things in existence as one point, like a singularity, it is an ego.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to,
It's ego, because ego personality wants separation.
Yes.
That's true self wants union. But we are part of that. We have to have that ego to survive.
What if I told you that the aware ego doesn't want separation?
It wants union. It wants oneness.
Well, it will recognize all things as part of itself, and it will also recognize that there's something beyond itself. So we're coming here to try to become that expression. It's basically the embodiment of oneness. Each one of us walking around. Now, you can think of the first pillar kind of like a pole in the center, and then the other two pillars kind of rest on it, almost like a teepee shape.
Shame and fear, the other two pillars.
Yes. Just want to go into those pillars now.
Oh, yeah. People don't like that. They don't like the fear and the shame. They don't like to deal with it.
Let's go to fear is the last pillar. We can go there first because shame is the more misunderstood of the pillars. To love something is to take it as part of yourself. It's quite simple. It's just that energetic movement. We don't understand what love is because we associate it with an emotional state and usually pure positivity. But love is quite simple, actually. It's just literally I take this as part of myself. Fear is the opposite. It's I push something away from myself. So hate is not actually the opposite polarity to love. Fear is.
Fear is, yeah.
So if I fear something, that's all I'm doing. It's just literally that energetic movement of pushing it away.
Resistance, isn't it? Yeah.
And we even do this with our fearful self. So the aspects of ourselves that are in fear, we bulldoze them, we deny them, we reject them, we disown them. We don't know how to actually live in the world with our fear, which is a part of our being at this current time in our awareness. So
we have to embrace them.
Oh yes.
Which is really scary.
Fear is the most vulnerable aspect of our being, so it should be dealt with like a small child, but not in a condescending way. Most people, they're like, oh, deal with it like a little kid, as if we're looking down on it in some way. Every one of your fears has a very important message to share about your personal truth. It's not about whether the fear is saying or believing something accurate about the world. It represents something that is valid for you for some reason. So what I'm wanting people to do is to step into this place of it is valid regardless of whether it's true or not true. Like, a person who grows up, for example, feeling like they're completely alone in the world, it's not correct, actually, to say that you're not connected. You are connected, whether you're aware of it or not.
Exactly.
But we don't get to use that truth to invalidate the reality. Their reality is, I feel lonely. And you're valid to feel that way. So until we're ready to see the validity of these states, we're not going to be able to work with them in any way.
And we have to, you can't, like you said, you can't dismiss them or, wipe them underneath the carpet. You have to deal with them, you have to delve into it to release them from the pain body within, isn't it? To release them. And that's what, so the connection.
Can I make it, see, in a way you're accurate, because when you see things in the pain body and when they get quote unquote released, you see the pattern shift.
Yeah.
But the reason that I call it integration is there comes a point where you're so inclusive that it's almost like even the idea of something going away is not something you're going for anymore.
So you're just you embracing all of it as a part of you, acceptance.
Yeah, in a very extreme way. Like it is. I take this as so much a part of myself that in the connection, that's what creates the pattern change. So it's not that I create the pattern change and then it vanishes. It's like you bring it in and then it creates a pattern change.
So you learn to love the badness, the fear.
Yes, which is really freaking hard.
That's really profound.
But it's everything, because we have to understand this as a society if we're going to understand how to restructure the way society runs, because our socialization process is, and even the way that we treat criminals, even the way that our entire cities are designed, it's based on segregation.
It is.
So I want this mentality to shift into a space of I'm bringing everything closer to me. Most especially those things I push the furthest away.
Of course, you have to bring them closer to the heart to get that love, isn't it? Wow, that's just amazing. That's so good. That's great, and it's so.
So do you want to go into shame?
Yeah, go.
Because shame is where this concept gets about 100 times cooler. Alright, so shame is one of the most misunderstood things on the planet because we see it as an emotional state and an unnecessary one. Actually, it's not going to be possible for people to get out of shame. Because shame is a biological affective reaction, the same as fight or flight.
Yeah.
So, if I walk up to a physical human and I act like I'm going to punch them in the face, they're going to flinch. And that's exactly what shame is. We are such a social species, we need connection to the social group, and this is very extreme for us on a biological level. And it's not something, I'm not here to try to teach people to transcend their instincts. I think that's actually resistance as well. So I'm, telling people when they've got instincts like sexuality or like, the fear responses and things like that, they have to actually bring it in closer to them in order to be able to make a choice from free will about them. So as it applies to shame, what we have to understand first and foremost is that as a physical human, we need closeness more than anything in this universe. We die without it.
Yeah.
And this is very extreme, because as adults we forget this, but as a tiny baby, if you are left out on the street here, you're dead.
Survive. Yeah, that's right.
So your entire nervous system, at the most primitive and instinctual level, is set up for closeness. If you meet with, in your societal experience as a child, if you meet with an experience where somebody you're dependent on, you perceive pushing you away based on something, you will instantly create a triangulation, actually, where you try to reestablish closeness with them by turning against that part of yourself.
Yeah.
That's what shame is.
Yeah,
so it's in this moment, shame is literally this simple. In this moment, I am pushing this part of myself away.
And that leads to dysfunctional behaviour.
Oh, yeah.
And that can, and all them terrorists and pedophiles and all them people, murderers and all of that, that's because they didn't have that in, growing up. It was their social conditioning without that closeness or...
Yeah, everybody falls somewhere on the scale when it comes to shame.
Yeah.
The people who we're talking about who are sitting in jail cells, they fall on the very extreme end of the shame, where it wasn't possible to create that type of rapport that they needed to create with their, the people who are in their lives. And there's this big split.
Yeah.
Now, when somebody pushes somebody away to that extreme degree, they no longer feel a sense of connection. That's very dangerous, because in a state of disconnection, now you're other to me. Now I can steal from you.
Exactly.
Now I can shoot you.
Because when I don't have really what we do to one, we do to all. What we do to another, we do to ourselves.
Yep.
That's when you understand about the oneness.
Yes.
But when people don't understand that, when they are separate, then they can kill you. They can do anything, because I am not you and you're not me.
And then we make it worse because we reciprocate. When they go, I'm not a part of you, I'm going to steal from you. Then we go, well, yeah, screw you, you're that person who steals. You're like those people.
Yeah, that's right.
And we stuff them in a shell.
That's it. It makes it even more separate.
Yeah. So we're actually reacting to what is created by shame. We don't look at that way, but that's actually what's happening. This condition is created by a state of shame. It creates a fragmentation within society. It creates a sense of disconnection in these people who are actually the carriers of our collective shadow.
Yeah.
And then we make it about 100 times worse by locking them away and then actually shaming them worse. So what we're going to see, which is what we have seen, is our jails piling up where we have no space anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
We're profiting, quite frankly, off of these people,
and
which is ridiculous.
In mental institutions and all that. It's terrible. It's so bad, and it's drugs isn't the answer. It's just So let's go on to the last, to the happy part of them. We've gone through the three. Let's go to the connection. Yeah, the last bit of your book, which is wonderful.
Connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at its foundation, what we have to get is to move into a state of connection. We've got to bring these aspects that we push away actually closer to ourselves. So that's actually the remedy to shame. The remedy to shame is the opposite of what most people have been taught. Most people have been taught, well, if you feel crappy about yourself, right? If you're ashamed of some aspect, you just got to focus positively on what's amazing about you. But that's actually creating a further fragmentation. If I push my own anger away, actually the result is going to be so detrimental. That's when all the negative expressions are going to come. So I actually have to bring my anger closer to me. I have to actually look at it. And in this book, in this book, I'm putting forth a process where you start to see yourself not as a whole, which is the truth, because we're not a singularity. We're actually this super fragmented, almost like a stained glass mirror internally, where every angle of that stained glass is a different aspect of our personality. So if we address each aspect as if it is its individual self, and then we work to bring it closer to ourselves, then we end this process of shame internally. So that's the first thing. I go into way more detail in this book, trust me. It's not like sounds complicated, but I've broken it down. The next thing we need to do is develop genuine intimacy. Now, intimacy is absolutely critical, and I'm putting forth that it's something we need to commit to with everybody in our life, regardless of whether it's a child, regardless of whether it's a coworker or a boss or a friend.
It's the intimacy of we're all connected by our humanity.
Yes.
We are there's only one race of people on the earth, and that's called the human race.
Yes.
And that's it.
Exactly. So if I'm going to practice this, it means that every person in my life, I first and foremost consider that they're a part of me. So I'm taking the bigger picture of the universe. If I am the same as source consciousness, which is actually true for all people in existence, then everything that I come across is actually a part of me. Now I have to try to understand it then. There must be a reason why I'm doing these things.
To see the other as a reflection of you, as the higher self and the spark of source within, which is the same within all living beings.
Exactly. So it's to walk the earth in practice. That guy who is picking things out of the garbage can over there is me.
That's right.
Why am I doing that today? See, so it's almost like you're trying to get into people's perspectives to such an extreme degree that it's beyond relating. It's I am that psychology.
I am that I am.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Wow.
And it's much easier with some people than others, believe me.
Yeah. Teal, oh my God, it's just so funny. You were just so fascinating. You really are. And we've got to wrap up the interview. We'll go on and on and on forever, but it's just fantastic. So, just leave us with some last, everyone at UK Health Radio, you can come in to Watkins and buy Teal Swan's book, The Anatomy of Loneliness, How to Find Your Way Back to Connection, and see her on her YouTube channel, just Teal Swan.
Yeah, just type in Teal Swan to YouTube.
And it'll come up, all the wonderful stuff that you do. It's so good.
Yeah.
So just leave us with the last thing on connection.
My last thing.
Yeah.
My last thing is that people don't have to live in this state of fragmentation and isolation anymore. And even if people don't pick this book up for themselves, if you have somebody that's lonely in your life, you'll understand why and what to do about it. And I feel like this is really a responsibility that we have. And it doesn't have to be one that feels like drudgery either, because to be honest with you, the amount of nourishment that you feel in your soul when you actually get genuine connection with people
is profound.
Yeah.
It's connecting the divinity within me to the divinity within you and within everyone.
Yes.
Because that's what we're here for, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
To find that within ourselves so we can find it within others.
Exactly. And then I feel like if we do this, then society is going to shift. I mean, it can do no other than that. Yeah. We're not going to be able to set up the same structures that create the segregation, that create the separation, that create the loneliness. So I really see this as the beginning of a real wave within society where we come back to a sense of community, but this time community that's absent of shadow.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. That's what my guru says. He says this time is the most spiritual awakening time on earth. Unity consciousness will prevail. He will prevail. We will do it this time. We didn't before, but this time humanity will. We will do it.
I think so.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Cool. Thank you so much, and thank you, Teal Swan, for coming here to this wonderful interview, and thank you to all of our listeners. Take care.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.